She told the rock star she was untouchable. He smirked and said, "We'll see about that tonight." She was the Ice Queen publicist sent to clean up his reputation. He was the bad boy with tattoos and a smile that promised trouble. 6 weeks together. One impossible rule: don't fall in love. But what happens when the person you're supposed to tame is the one who sets you free? Before we dive in, I need your help. We're pushing to hit 500 subscribers, and every single one of you matters in making that happen. If you enjoy these stories, hit that subscribe button. And drop a comment telling me where you're listening from. I love knowing this story is reaching people across the world. Now let's see if Mia can resist Asher Knight, or if he'll prove that even the most untouchable hearts can fall. Mia Lawson had 3 rules for surviving in the music industry: never sleep with clients, never get personally involved, and absolutely never fall for a rock star. As senior publicist at Apex Records in Los Angeles, she'd built her reputation on being untouchable, the Ice Queen who could handle even the most difficult artists without breaking a sweat, which was exactly why her boss assigned her to Asher Knight. Standing in the marble lobby of the Peninsula Hotel in Beverly Hills, Mia checked her reflection in the mirrored wall. Her charcoal blazer was perfectly tailored, her dark hair pulled into a sleek ponytail, red lipstick impeccable. She looked every bit the professional she was. The butterflies in her stomach were nobody's business but her own. Asher Knight was rock royalty. Lead singer of Crimson Riot, the band that had dominated charts for 5 years straight. Tabloid favorite. Known for trashing hotel rooms, dating supermodels, and giving interviews that made publicists weep. His last PR rep had quit after he showed up drunk to a morning show interview. Mia's heels clicked against the marble as she headed toward the elevator. She had a plan: set boundaries immediately, establish control, and make it clear that she wasn't another starry-eyed fan. She'd dealt with entitled musicians before. The penthouse door was ajar when she arrived. "Mr. Knight?" she called, pushing it open. "It's Mia Lawson from Apex Records." The suite was chaos. Room service trays scattered across surfaces, a leather jacket draped over a lamp, guitar cases propped against the wall. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, Los Angeles sprawled beneath a hazy afternoon sun. "In here," a voice rumbled from deeper in the suite. Mia followed the sound to the bedroom doorway and stopped dead. Asher Knight stood in front of the window, pulling a faded Black Sabbath t-shirt over his head. For a moment, she caught a glimpse of a torso covered in intricate tattoos, muscles that suggested hours in the gym between concerts, a body that belonged on magazine covers. When his head emerged from the shirt, he was grinning like he'd caught her staring, which mortifyingly she had been. He was taller than she'd expected, probably 6'2", with dark hair that fell just past his collar in messy waves. Sharp jawline, gray eyes that seemed to catalog everything about her in one sweep, and a smile that was pure trouble. The tattoos continued down his arms, visible beneath the short sleeves, a full sleeve of ravens and roses on his left arm. "You're the new babysitter," he said, not a question. "Publicist," Mia corrected, stepping into the room with more confidence than she felt. "And I'm here to clean up the mess you've been making." "Mess?" He sprawled onto the unmade bed, propping himself against the headboard. "I prefer to call it living authentically. Your authentic living cost the label $200,000 in damages last month. Hotel Barcelona? Ring any bells?" "That was a misunderstanding. You drove a motorcycle through the lobby. They said they had valet parking." His grin widened. "How was I supposed to know they meant cars?" Despite herself, Mia felt the corner of her mouth twitch. She killed the smile before it could fully form. "This isn't funny, Mr. Knight. You have an album dropping in 6 weeks, a world tour starting in 8, and a reputation that's becoming more liability than asset. Call me Asher." He stood, moving closer. "Mr. Knight makes me sound like my father, and trust me, nobody wants that." He smelled like expensive cologne and something else, something that made her want to lean in. Mia held her ground. "I'm here to do a job. she said firmly. Which means you follow my instructions. Show up where you're supposed to when you're supposed to, and for the love of God, stop giving interviews while drunk. Where's the fun in that? The fun is keeping your career. They stood there, barely 3 feet apart, neither backing down. Mia felt the crackle of something electric in the air between them. She recognized it, had felt it before with other clients, but never this intensely. Chemistry was dangerous in her line of work. You know what I think? Asher said, voice dropping lower. I think you're scared. Of what? Of me. Of this. He gestured between them. You walked in here with your walls up so high I'd need climbing gear to get over them. Professional Mia. Untouchable Mia. I bet people say you're impossible to rattle. I'm good at my job. You're hiding behind your job. He took another step closer. What are you so afraid of? I'm not afraid of anything, Mia said, but her voice came out softer than she intended, especially not rock stars with more ego than sense. The challenge hung in the air between them. Asher laughed, a genuine sound that transformed his face from dangerously handsome to something even more devastating. Okay, Ice Queen. You want to play it professional? Fine. We'll play by your rules, for now. These aren't my rules. They're the label's requirements. Tomorrow, 8 a.m., you have a photo shoot for Rolling Stone, then lunch with the head of your European distribution. At 3, a radio interview, all of which you will attend sober, on time, and appropriately dressed. Appropriately dressed, he repeated, glancing down at his Sabbath shirt. This isn't appropriate? For a radio interview with parents listening? No. Parents love me. Parents love the idea of keeping their daughters away from you. He laughed again. Fair point. Anything else, boss? Yes. I need your phone. Excuse me? Mia held out her hand. Your phone. You've been tweeting at 3 a.m. starting feuds with other artists, posting pictures that your lawyer has to deal with. For the next 6 weeks, all social media goes through me. That's insane. That's the job. You want to salvage your reputation? This is how we do it. For a moment, she thought he'd refuse. His jaw tightened, eyes flashing with something that might have been anger. Then, slowly, he pulled his phone from his pocket and dropped it into her palm, his fingers deliberately brushing hers. You're going to be trouble, he said. Me. You're the one with the Wikipedia page that has an entire section called Controversies. At least I'm interesting. Interesting doesn't pay the bills when venues start canceling. Mia tucked his phone into her bag, trying to ignore how her hand still tingled where he'd touched it. This was exactly what she'd been worried about. Asher Knight wasn't just another difficult client. He was the kind of man who could make her forget every rule she'd ever made, every boundary she'd carefully constructed. So what now? Asher asked, dropping back onto the bed. You going to follow me around all day? Make sure I don't corrupt any innocent civilians? Actually, yes. Part of my job is keeping you out of trouble, which means for the next 6 weeks, where you go, I go. Something flickered in his eyes. Dangerous game, Mia. Why's that? Because 6 weeks is a long time to maintain those walls of yours. He leaned back, completely relaxed, utterly confident. And I've never met a challenge I didn't eventually conquer. I'm not a challenge, Mr. Knight. I'm your publicist. You keep telling yourself that. Mia's phone buzzed. A text from her assistant. Paparazzi spotted outside the hotel. Get him out the back. Perfect. Nothing like starting with a crisis. We need to leave, she said. Paparazzi out front. There's a car waiting at the service entrance. See? Already so much fun. Asher grabbed a leather jacket from the chair, the movement showing off those arms again. Where are we going? Somewhere you can't get into trouble. Sweetheart, I can get into trouble anywhere. As they headed toward the door, Asher's hand landed on the small of her back, casual, almost unconscious. The touch sent heat racing up her spine. Don't call me sweetheart, Mia said, stepping away. What should I call you? Ms. Lawson works fine. They made it to the elevator, down to the basement level, through the service corridors where hotel staff barely glanced up. The black SUV was waiting, engine running. Once inside, with tinted windows between them and the world, Asher turned to her. So, Ms. Lawson, since you're in charge of my life now, want to tell me the real reason you took this job? I told you. It's my job. Nobody volunteers to babysit me. My last 3 publicists requested transfers. You could have said no. Mia looked out the window as they pulled into LA traffic. The truth was, she had tried to say no, but her boss had been insistent, and there was something else, something she wouldn't admit even to herself. She'd watched Asher Knight's interviews, seen the intelligence behind the bad boy image, caught glimpses of someone real underneath all the rock star posturing. Maybe I like a challenge, she finally said. Careful, Mia. That almost sounded like you're interested. In keeping my job and your career intact. Nothing more. But when she glanced at him, caught him watching her with those intense gray eyes, she felt her carefully constructed defenses crack just a little. This was going to be the longest 6 weeks of her life. The Rolling Stone photo shoot was everything Mia had feared, and somehow worse. She stood off to the side of the converted warehouse in downtown LA, watching as Asher charmed everyone from the photographer to the makeup artist to the intern fetching coffee. He'd shown up on time, she'd give him that. Wearing torn black jeans and a vintage Metallica shirt that somehow looked both casual and deliberate. Asher, can you lean against the amp? The photographer called. Give me dangerous. Give me raw. Asher complied, all lean muscle and tattoos and that smile that promised trouble. The camera loved him. Even Mia, who'd trained herself to be immune to celebrity charisma, felt the pull. Your boy is something else, the photographer's assistant whispered to Mia. Most artists take hours to warm up. He's just naturally magnetic. He's not my boy, Mia corrected automatically. Sure, honey. Whatever you say. 3 hours later, they were in the back of the SUV again, heading to lunch with the European distribution executive. Asher had changed into a black button-down that he'd left partially unbuttoned, revealing the edge of a tattoo that stretched across his collarbone. You did well at the shoot, Mia admitted. Was that a compliment? From the Ice Queen herself? Don't let it go to your head. Too late. I'm having it framed. The lunch was at Spago, Wolfgang Puck's flagship restaurant in Beverly Hills. Mia had chosen it carefully, public enough to discourage bad behavior, private enough for actual conversation. Marcus Steiner, the distribution exec, was waiting at a corner table. 60, impeccably dressed, with the kind of weathered face that came from years in the industry. Asher, he said, standing to shake hands, and you must be the miracle worker who got him here on time. Mia Lawson, she said, shaking his hand. Let's see if we can make it through lunch before declaring any miracles. The meal started professionally enough. Marcus talked about European markets, radio play in Germany, streaming numbers in the UK. Asher listened, asked surprisingly intelligent questions about distribution strategies and regional marketing. But halfway through the main course, Marcus's phone rang. Excuse me, he said, stepping away from the table. Alone with Asher, Mia felt the dynamic shift immediately. You're staring, Asher said, not looking up from his plate. I'm observing. That what we're calling it? He finally met her eyes. You've been watching me since we sat down, cataloging, analyzing, trying to figure me out. It's my job to understand my clients. I'm not a puzzle to solve, Mia. No? Because from where I'm sitting, you're a walking contradiction, smart enough to discuss complex distribution strategies, but reckless enough to drive a motorcycle through a hotel lobby. Talented enough to sell out arenas, but determined to sabotage your own success. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out what makes you tick. Asher set down his fork, giving her his full attention. You want to know the truth? Always. I'm bored. Bored of playing the same venues, singing the same songs, dating the same kind of women who only want me because I'm famous. Bored of people telling me what to wear, what to say, how to behave. The wild shit. The stuff that makes your job harder. That's the only time I feel anything real. There was something raw in his voice, something vulnerable that made Mia's chest tighten. So you push boundaries because you're searching for something authentic, she said quietly. Don't psychoanalyze me. I'm not. I'm listening. They sat in silence for a moment, the restaurant noise fading into background hum. What about you? Asher asked. What are you running from? Who says I'm running? Everyone's running from something. You've built this perfect professional armor, never let anyone close. That's not ambition. That's protection. Mia's phone buzzed, saving her from answering. A text from her assistant. TMZ asking about Asher having lunch with mystery woman. Need a statement? Great, she muttered. We've been photographed. Welcome to my world. This is exactly what I was trying to avoid. Why? Afraid people will think we're together? Because speculation distracts from the work. Asher leaned back, studying her. Or maybe you're afraid of what it would mean if the speculation was true. It's not, and it won't be. You sure about that? Before she could answer, Marcus returned, apologetic about the interruption. The rest of lunch passed in professional conversation, but Mia felt Asher's eyes on her, felt the unspoken challenge hanging between them. The radio interview that afternoon was at KROQ, one of LA's biggest rock stations. Mia sat in the control room while Asher charmed the DJ, telling stories about the new album, the creative process, life on tour. So Asher, the DJ said, leaning into his mic, rumor has it you've been spotted around town with a gorgeous brunette. New romance? Mia tensed. Just my publicist, Asher said smoothly, though I have to say, she's the most beautiful woman who's ever told me no. The DJ laughed. She's turning down Asher Knight? Is she insane? She's professional and brilliant, and completely immune to my charm, which makes her approximately one of 3 women on the planet. Sounds like a challenge. Everything with her is a challenge. That's what makes it interesting. Mia's face burned. She caught the station manager grinning at her from across the control room. After the interview, she cornered Asher in the hallway. What the hell was that? What? I said nice things about you. You made it sound like we're playing some kind of game. Aren't we? He stepped closer, backing her against the wall. Not touching, but close enough that she could feel the heat radiating off him. You say you're not interested, but your body language tells a different story. You say you want professional boundaries, but you look at me like you're trying to decide if I'm worth breaking your rules for. You're delusional. Am I? Tell me you don't feel this thing between us. Mia's breath caught. They were in a public hallway, people walking past. But suddenly it felt like they were completely alone. Even if I did, she said carefully, which I'm not saying I do, it would be a terrible idea. You're my client. I'm your publicist. There are rules against this kind of thing. Rules, Asher said, his voice dropping to almost a whisper. You love your rules. What happens when you want something more than you want to follow them? That won't happen. We'll see. He pushed off the wall, leaving her there with her heart racing and her carefully constructed defenses feeling dangerously fragile. That evening, Mia was supposed to go home. Her job for the day was done. Asher was scheduled for a quiet night in, and she needed distance to clear her head. Instead, she found herself at the Peninsula Hotel again at 9 p.m. because Asher had texted her from the phone she'd confiscated. Borrowed hotel phone. SOS. Need you. She found him on the roof terrace, guitar in hand, overlooking the city lights. What's the emergency? She demanded. No emergency. I just wanted you here. Asher, Sit with me. 5 minutes. Then you can go back to pretending you don't feel what I feel." Against her better judgment, Mia sat. The night air was cool, carrying the scent of jasmine from the hotel gardens. Below them, LA glittered like scattered diamonds. "Play something," she said. "Requests already? We're making progress." But he did play, his fingers moving over the strings with easy confidence. The melody was unfamiliar, something soft and haunting. "What's that?" Mia asked. "Something new. Been working on it for the album." "It's beautiful." "It's about this woman I can't quite figure out. She walks into my life acting like she's got everything under control, but I can see the cracks in her armor. Makes me want to know what she's protecting herself from." Mia's throat tightened. "Asher. I know. Professional boundaries. You're just doing your job." He set the guitar aside. "But here's the thing, Mia. I've had publicists before. Never wanted to know what makes them laugh, or what they dream about, or what it would take to make them lose that perfect control. You're different." "I can't be different. I can't be anything except professional." "Can't or won't?" "Both." He moved closer, his hand reaching up to cup her face. His thumb brushed her cheekbone, gentle, questioning. "Tell me to stop," he said softly. Mia knew she should. Knew this was the moment to enforce her boundaries, to step back, to be the professional she'd always been. Instead, she leaned into his touch. "This is a mistake," she whispered. "Probably the best kind." When he kissed her, it was nothing like she expected. Not demanding or aggressive, but slow, searching, like he was trying to memorize the taste of her. His hand slid into her hair, loosening her ponytail, and she found herself gripping his shirt, pulling him closer. The kiss deepened, years of discipline crumbling under the weight of want. He tasted like mint and possibility, and when his tongue traced her lower lip, she heard herself make a sound she didn't recognize. They broke apart, both breathing hard. "Mia," Asher started. "Don't," she said, standing abruptly. "Don't say anything. That was a mistake. It can't happen again." "Why not?" "Because I could lose my job. Because you're going to break my heart. Because I've spent my entire career building a reputation. And one night with you could destroy it all." "Or," he said, standing too, "one night could be the start of something real." "There's nothing real about this. You're a rock star living in a fantasy world. I'm the person paid to clean up your messes. This is just adrenaline and proximity and bad judgment. You don't believe that?" "I have to." Mia grabbed her bag, needing to escape before she did something even more foolish, like admitting he was right, like kissing him again. "I'll see you tomorrow," she said, heading for the door. 8 a.m. Don't be late." "Mia, wait." But she was already gone, practically running to the elevator, her lips still tingling, her heart still racing, knowing that everything had just changed and terrified of what that meant. Mia didn't sleep that night. She lay in her Venice Beach apartment, staring at the ceiling, replaying the kiss over and over. The smart thing would be to request reassignment, to walk away before things got more complicated. But when morning came, she was in the Peninsula lobby at 7:45, 2 coffees in hand, pretending her world hadn't tilted off its axis. Asher appeared at exactly 8 a.m., which was suspicious in itself. He wore a faded Guns N' Roses shirt and jeans that looked like they'd been through a war, but his eyes were clear, focused entirely on her. "Morning," he said, accepting the coffee she offered. "Morning. We have a busy day. Billboard interview at 9, sound check at the Wiltern at noon, dinner with your label president at 7. All business today? Always business." They maintained careful distance in the car. Mia kept her eyes on her phone, reviewing talking points for the interview. but she felt Asher watching her, felt the weight of everything unsaid. The Billboard interview was with Jennifer Chen, a journalist known for asking the questions others avoided. Mia had prepped Asher extensively, warned him about her tactics. What she hadn't prepared for was Jennifer asking about her. "There's been speculation," Jennifer said, 40 minutes into the interview, "about your relationship with your new publicist. Care to comment?" "Mia's brilliant at her job," Asher said smoothly. "Best publicist I've ever worked with." "That's not what I asked." Asher leaned back, that dangerous smile playing at his lips. "What do you want me to say, Jennifer? That I'm half in love with a woman who won't give me the time of day? That I spend every conversation trying to make her laugh just to see that professional mask crack? That I've written 3 songs about her in the past week?" Mia's coffee cup froze halfway to her mouth. "So there is something there," Jennifer pressed. "There's everything there. On my side, anyway. She's determined to keep things professional. Can't say I blame her. I'm not exactly known for my stable romantic history. Would you change that? For her?" The room went silent. Even Jennifer seemed to hold her breath. "Yeah," Asher said quietly, all playfulness gone. "I would." After the interview, Mia didn't speak until they were alone in the car. "What the hell was that?" she demanded. "The truth. You can't just announce to Billboard magazine that you're in love with me." "Half in love. I said half. Give me another week. I'll be all the way there." "This isn't funny, Asher. Do you know what this does to my credibility? People will think I'm sleeping with you to advance my career. Then sleep with me and prove them right. Stop. Why? Give me one good reason why we shouldn't do this." "I gave you several last night." "Those were excuses, not reasons." Mia pressed her fingers to her temples, feeling a headache building. "You want a reason? Fine. Because in 6 weeks you're going on tour. You'll be in a different city every night, surrounded by beautiful women who actually want to be with a rock star. And I'll be here in LA, wondering when you'll get bored of me." "You think I'm that shallow?" "I think you're used to getting what you want and losing interest once you have it. That's not judgment. That's pattern recognition based on every interview you've ever given." Asher was quiet for a long moment. "You're right," he finally said. "About my past. I have gotten bored. I have moved on quickly. You know why? Because none of them challenged me. None of them looked at me and saw past the image to whatever's underneath. You do. Asher, I'm not asking you to trust me blindly. I know I haven't earned that. But I'm asking for a chance. A real one. Not this professional distance bullshit where we both pretend we don't want each other." The car pulled up to the Wiltern Theater. Mia could see fans already gathering outside, holding signs, hoping for a glimpse of Asher. "I need to think," she said. "Take all the time you need. I'm not going anywhere." The sound check was supposed to be routine. Asher and his band running through the set list, adjusting levels, making sure everything worked. Instead, it turned into something else. Mia stood in the empty theater, watching as Asher took the stage. The house lights were up, revealing rows of red velvet seats, the ornate Art Deco architecture. "This one's new," Asher said to his band. "Just wrote it. Humor me." He started playing, and the first note sent chills down Mia's spine. It was the melody from the rooftop, but fuller now, with the full band behind it. Then he started singing. She walks in wearing armor made of rules and razor wire. Says she's just here for business, but her eyes give her away. Every wall she's built to keep me out just makes me want her more. She's afraid of falling, and God, I'm terrified I'll catch her. The lyrics were raw, vulnerable. Everything Asher usually hid behind the rock star image. His voice cracked slightly on the chorus, and Mia felt something break loose in her chest. This is about keeping safe, keeping score. keeping everyone at arm's length so they can't see what you're hiding. But I see you. I see every carefully constructed lie you tell yourself about what you want. And I'm calling your bluff. When the song ended, the theater was silent except for the echo of the final chord. Asher set down his guitar and walked to the edge of the stage, looking directly at Mia. "That's what you do to me," he said. "That's what this feels like. And you can run from it. Hide behind your professional boundaries. Tell yourself it's just proximity or adrenaline. But we both know the truth." Mia stood, her hands shaking slightly. "I need air." She walked out of the theater, into the alley behind the building. The afternoon sun was harsh after the dimness inside. She leaned against the brick wall, trying to catch her breath. The door opened behind her. "I'm sorry," Asher said. "That was too much. I shouldn't have—" "I'm falling for you," Mia interrupted, the words tumbling out before she could stop them. "And it terrifies me, because I've spent 10 years building a career, building a reputation as someone who doesn't get emotionally involved. And you waltz into my life, and within a week I'm breaking every rule I've ever made." Asher moved closer, cautious, like approaching a wild animal. "Is that so terrible?" "Yes, because I know how this ends. You go on tour, I stay here. Distance makes things complicated. You meet someone else. I'm left with a broken heart and a ruined reputation. Or," he said softly, "I go on tour and miss you every second. I call you from every city. You visit when you can. We figure it out because what we have is worth fighting for. You don't know that. You barely know me. I know you take your coffee black with 1 sugar. I know you bite your lower lip when you're concentrating. I know you're brilliant at your job because you actually care about the people you work with, not just their careers. I know you're scared of letting people in because someone hurt you once, and you decided never to give anyone that power again." Mia's eyes stung. "My ex-fiancé, he was a musician. I was his manager. When we broke up, everyone assumed I'd slept my way to the position. Took me 3 years to rebuild my reputation. I'm sorry that happened to you, but I'm not him." "How do I know that?" "You don't. Not for certain. That's what trust is. That's what taking a chance means." He reached out, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "But I can tell you this. I've never felt like this before. Never wanted to be better for someone. Never been willing to change my entire life just to make someone smile. That has to count for something." A photographer's flash went off from the street. "Shit," Mia muttered. "Paparazzi." "Let them photograph," Asher said. "I'm done hiding this, hiding you. My boss will kill me. Then I'll hire you myself. Be my publicist, my girlfriend, whatever label makes you comfortable. I just want you in my life." "Asher, that's not how this works." "Then tell me how it works. Tell me the rules. And I'll follow them. All of them. I'll be whatever you need me to be." Mia looked at him, really looked at him. Past the rock star image, the tattoos and the trouble and the headlines. She saw someone genuine, someone who'd been performing for so long he'd almost forgotten how to be real until he'd met someone who demanded authenticity. "I need you to be honest," she said. "Always, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard." "I can do that. I need you to understand that my career matters, that I've worked too hard to throw it away. I would never ask you to. And I need you to be patient, because I'm going to be scared. I'm going to second-guess everything. I'm going to try to run. I'll be patient. I'll remind you why you stayed. And if you run, I'll chase you." Another flash. More photographers gathering. "This is really happening," Mia said, half to herself. "Only if you want it to." She thought about all the reasons this was a bad idea. The professional complications, the public scrutiny, the risk of heartbreak. But she also thought about the way he made her laugh. the way he challenged her, the way he looked at her like she was the most fascinating person in the room. "Okay," she said. "Okay, let's do this, but we're doing it my way." "Which is?" "Slowly, carefully. We tell my boss tomorrow. We prepare a statement for the press. We set boundaries about public appearances and social media. We do this right." Asher grinned, that full wattage smile that had probably launched 1,000 magazine covers. "Whatever you say, boss. And if at any point you feel yourself getting bored or wanting to move on, you tell me. No ghosting, no public breakup. Honest conversation." "Deal. Same goes for you. I won't get bored of you." "How do you know?" "Because you're the first person in years who's made me want to break my own rules. That's not boredom. That's terrifying and exhilarating and completely insane." He kissed her then, right there in the alley with photographers capturing every moment. It was different from the rooftop kiss. Less desperate, more certain. A beginning instead of a mistake. When they broke apart, Mia laughed, the sound surprising her. "What?" Asher asked. "I'm kissing a client in an alley while paparazzi take pictures. My professional reputation is officially destroyed." "Want to stop?" She pulled him back down for another kiss. "Absolutely not." That evening, over dinner with the label president, Mia was prepared for questions. What she got instead was knowing smiles and a comment that the publicity from their relationship would be fantastic for the album launch. Turned out everyone had been waiting for them to figure out what they already knew. A week later, Mia sat in the audience at the Wiltern, watching Asher perform. The venue was sold out, fans screaming every lyric. But when he played the song he'd written for her, he looked directly at where she sat and sang like she was the only person in the room. After the show, in his dressing room while his band celebrated, he pulled her close. "You know what I realized?" he said. "What?" "I'm untouchable when I'm with you. Not because you keep people away, because you make me feel like I don't need anyone else's approval. Like being real is enough." Mia smiled, running her fingers through his sweat-damp hair. "That was the worst line you've ever delivered." "Yeah? Completely cheesy, totally cliché. But did it work?" She kissed him, slow and deep, until someone banged on the dressing room door yelling about after-party logistics. "Yeah," she whispered against his lips. It worked. 6 weeks turned into 6 months. The tour was grueling, time zones and schedules making things complicated. But Asher called every night, sent flowers to her office, flew her out to meet him whenever she could get away. And Mia, who'd built her entire life around being untouchable, discovered that being touched, being known, being loved by someone who saw past all her defenses was worth every risk she'd ever been afraid to take. On opening night of the European leg of the tour, Asher dedicated the entire concert to "The woman who taught me that falling is only scary until you realize someone's there to catch you." Backstage afterward, Mia wore his leather jacket and his t-shirt, her professional wardrobe abandoned for comfort. "I love you," Asher said, the words simple, direct. "I know," Mia replied. "I love you too, even though you're still terrible at following instructions. Some rules," he said, pulling her close, "are worth breaking." And for once, Mia had to agree. "So what do you think? Was Mia right to protect her professional reputation at first? Or should she have taken the risk sooner? If you were in her position, would you have fallen for someone like Asher, knowing it could cost you everything you'd worked for? And here's the real question. Do you believe Asher when he says he's changed? Or is Mia setting herself up for heartbreak down the road? Love makes us do crazy things. It makes us break our own rules, ignore red flags, take chances we'd never normally take. Mia built her entire career on being the untouchable professional, the one who never got personally involved. But sometimes the right person comes along and makes all those carefully constructed walls seem pointless. Here's what I want to know. Have you ever broken your own rules for someone? Ever fallen for the exact type of person you swore you'd avoid? Drop a comment and tell me your story. Did it work out? Or did you end up with the heartbreak you were trying to avoid? And let's talk about Asher. Rock stars aren't exactly known for their commitment. He says he's willing to change, to be better, to prove himself worthy of Mia's trust. But words are easy. Actions are what matter. Do you think 6 months is long enough to prove he's serious? Or is Mia just in the honeymoon phase, blinded by great chemistry and romantic gestures? Think about the people in your own life. How long did it take before you really knew them? Before you trusted them completely? Some people say you never truly know someone. Others believe you can tell within the first few conversations whether someone is genuine or playing a role. I believe everyone deserves a chance to grow, to change, to become better than they were. But I also believe in protecting yourself, in not giving your heart to someone who hasn't earned it. So where's the line? When do you take the leap of faith? And when do you walk away? Mia chose to stay, to trust, to believe that what they had was worth the risk. Time will tell if she made the right choice. But that's the thing about love. You never really know until you're in it, until you've risked everything and waited to see if the other person catches you. What would you have done? Would you have been brave like Mia? Or would you have protected yourself and walked away? There's no wrong answer. Every person, every situation is different. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. If this story resonated with you, if it made you think about your own relationships and the risks you've taken or avoided, do me a favor. Share your perspective in the comments. Tell me about a time you broke your own rules. Tell me if you think Mia and Asher have what it takes to make it last. Tell me if you've ever been the rock star or the person trying to tame one. Your stories matter. Your experiences shape how we all think about love, risk, and second chances. So don't hold back. Let's have a real conversation about what it means to be vulnerable, to take chances, to believe in something even when logic tells you to run. And if you're sitting there thinking about someone specific right now, someone who makes you want to break all your rules, maybe this is your sign. Maybe this is the universe telling you to take that chance, to be honest about your feelings, to stop hiding behind professional boundaries or fear of heartbreak. Or maybe it's telling you to protect yourself, to remember that not every risk is worth taking, that sometimes the smartest thing you can do is walk away. Only you know which one it is. Thanks for listening to Mia and Asher's story. Thanks for being here, for investing your time in these characters and their journey. I hope it entertained you, made you think, maybe even made you feel something. Now I want to hear from you. Comment section is open. Tell me everything.